Hi everybody, this is Herman. Herman is a WORX Landroid Vision lawnmower. So we've already got like a robot that can do vacuuming of the house. So I'm now trying to answer the question of, can we get a robot to do the lawn mowing task? You know, another chore that mankind has to deal with. So let's have a look. What's involved? We've got a charging pad home, if you like, that they call it, that sits around here. Before I do anything, I'm going to actually turn it off. We'll carry on. You can see all these little decals that they've put all over it. Cut to edge on this on the front. And we've got a neural network mower. Assume that the brain is in there. Over here we've got a power compartment. So in there is the battery. Up under there, which is a bit of a pain, they've got the Q code, which is used for the pairing. We've got a rain sensor. Not sure if I just said that, sorry. Over here we've got the height of the blade adjustment. It's a mechanical adjuster. I think it gives you 5 millimeters to play with. Let's go around the front actually. We've got these the snazzy bits of plastic stuck on the top. Now I've turned it off, I can move it. Here's the 2 charging spikes which get located into here when it's coming into home. Just noticed that moved, and no one else before. I don't know if I can get in there, it's a bit sunny today, but up under there is a camera. So that's what's a bit more unique about this robot, in that this one uses that camera to learn what the ground is going over. I think more traditional, as in older versions of these robot lawnmowers, they use cabling to demarc areas of the lawn. Let's go back around here. Yeah, this one shouldn't need to do that so much because it's got that camera. Now, what shocked me a little bit about this when I first got it, so I've been using it for a few weeks now, and this, I was expecting underneath to be all blade. Up underneath, so your blade is that big, so our lawnmower is about the size of my hand. Now, that's okay, I can deal with that. They give you this tiny battery when it first comes, and our lawn is not huge at all, but this was just way too small, so I've now got a 5 milliamp hour battery inside this instead. Again, going back over to here, it says cut to edge. Now the closest that it's ever going to get to the edge is there. So depending upon your lawn, you're still going to have your grass growing next to that edge. If it comes up against something like a wall, you're always going to get that growing. Also under here we've got 2 individual motors to drive these 2 wheels, so allow it to spin on the spot. Is there anything else underneath there? All these little diffusers that I don't think I've ever seen anything flying out of them, to be honest. We've got the dolly wheel there as well, which I think probably lifts up and down. Yeah, the mowing deck is also floating, but it says it moves it up and down depending upon the undulations of your lawn. There's a little speaker under there for when it wants to shout at you. I'll put that back down. Now before I set it off, I just want to highlight. So back to the actual device itself, we'll put it back on. The user interface for something that costs £1,000 isn't great. It's a bit rubbish. I know you can get like posher versions of this one that has got a better user interface, but £1,000, you should have something better. It's got a pin lock on it, and that's just whilst it gets itself up and running. Takes a few seconds. We've got an emergency stop here. Don't know if we're ever going to use that, I'm not sure. That just means I think it's ready. So we can now, I think, the user interface itself is a bit, still have to keep going to the box, the book. We can now click on start, I think, or maybe it's still booting up, is it? It should go to idle. Yeah, load, I think, it's loading the map. Come on, wake up. You can just about hear it. It's very quiet. And I'm in his way. What I was talking about with the edges, look, if we look over here, I've got, there's a wooden border that it's supposed to deal with, but at the weekend we did actually get the strimmer in there to get that going. I'm not going to stay here doing this, so what I'm going to do is take you back inside and go through the documentation that they give with you, and also show you the app. This is all being filmed by our other camera, so I'll probably grab the footage off that and then edit it into the video. I think when it comes to the object detection, I might jump back out here. But there we go. Off you go, Herman. Do your job. So I did do a long-winded version of this, but I want to shorten it up because my video is getting a bit long. What do you get as far as documentation goes? It's ridiculous. You get this thing here telling you how to upgrade your battery, like they knew it was too small. You get an owner's manual, installation manual, a get started guide, a pictorial setup guide, diagrammatic. We've got a charging procedure, a separate charging procedure, and then we've got a helpline. And I was sort of quizzing at the start, well, where do I start? Which of these do I use? And I'll say now the best option is probably the installation manual. So you work your way through this, explains it all how it operates. And then you get areas of this that are revisited through other pieces of paper that are in there. And you also get contradictions as well. I just want to show you here, like this bit here is explaining how you actually use the mower as far as the buttons on the top go. So that's in the installation manual, okay? And you can go to this, after you've finished your installation manual, you can go through Get Started. It's a bit strange, which is a pictorial version, and there are images in here. This is getting quite commonplace throughout different products, but end up with that one there, and it's sort of saying, I think it's saying, don't do anything until you've read the manual. Okay, which manual? Probably all of them, I suppose. Charging procedure. This mentions like things like temperature ranges as well of use, and they all contradict each other. You've got different temperature ranges mentioned throughout. Not going to bother with that one. The owner's manual, to me, should be something that has got everything in it, but it hasn't. Strangely enough, this manual doesn't have how to operate the mower. It's just telling you to use the app, but there's no instructions here on how to use it from those buttons. There's bits there on checking your software version and whatnot. Another thing that I've found tucked away, and I've always been quizzing this myself as well. It says here, your Landroid Vision may be programmed to operate at any time or frequency. Okay, remember that. Then you go over the pages, and then you've got these error messages that you're probably going to encounter when you first get it up and running. E14, insufficient light. So the mower cannot be used when it's dark. So that one back there is incorrect. And you know, once you've finished your installation, you're still going to have to keep hold of that one, which was the one that's got all the instructions. The installation manual, which tells you how to operate it as far as the user interface goes. It's just a bit a bit. It's terrible. I think it all should just be in one piece of paper or something like that, one little booklet, and that's it. There's no need for all these extra pieces and whatnot. Should be better. Okay, so on to the app itself. Now, coming from the perspective of somebody who's got a robot vacuum cleaner, it's a bit harder to deal with. Now, as far as a vacuum cleaner goes, it uses Wi-Fi in the house, and it can stay connected all the time, and you can see real-time maps of whatever's going on. It looks brilliant in comparison. Now, as far as the robot lawnmower goes, it's still using Wi-Fi. They've chosen not to give you the ability to use mobile data. So as a consequence, Herman is always trying to use the Wi-Fi. Now the Wi-Fi does work out in the garden, okay, that's fine, but the Wi-Fi reception on Herman isn't very good. So I assume that he's losing strength. Like you can see here indicated on the screen that it's got like the first bar of the sort of the umbrella symbol, I suppose, for the Wi-Fi. See, what you're seeing on the screen here is it's last updated. Well, that's actually 5:30 now. Look, so it's a long time ago. So it doesn't automatically refresh. We pull down the screen, it connects up, and he's been in there. He's recharged himself. Well, almost getting towards the top. Now, what else can you do within the app itself? So we can see here we've got options to send him home, to do another mowing session with that play button, and then pause it as well. And then we've also got this pop-up menu. If you press that, you could send him out and do an edge routine, which just means work your way around the perimeter. Party mode causes him to not do any of his scheduled mowing because you've got a party going on, but I would probably leave that on just for entertainment's sake. One-time timer schedule as well. Let's get rid of this out of the way. The main part of the app is the burger on the top left hand side. You can have multiple Landroids if you're that affluent, I suppose. Now the important thing to me would have been my lawn. Herman has been out there, he's drawn a map of the lawn, and that's sort of indicated by when it does that load at the start when you first tell it to go out. Now, I was expecting that map to reappear in the app, but it doesn't. All I've got in here is this lawn button, so we can click on that, and you can see there's numbers in there, but those are all things that I've manually entered in. It gives you this augmented reality camera option, as you can see indicated at the bottom of the screen, to go out there and walk around the perimeter of your lawn so that it gives you all these figures that you see in here. Where does that come into play, you might ask yourself, because it's not really relevant to the mower itself. It comes into play if you click on this auto schedule. If you click on the auto schedule, give it all the details that it's asking for there. So if you know your particular grass type, what nutrition you've given it, whether it's watered, what type of soil, it will work out a schedule automatically for you. I'm not able to test that at the moment, given the conditions of our lawn, for starters. But hopefully I can report back on that later on in the year. If we deselect the auto bit of it, you've still got the option to do manual scheduling. I sort of understand how this works. I mean, you can add in here a schedule to say start at a certain time. It's got to be daylight. And also end at a certain time. Now, if I was to tell it to do an hour's worth of mowing tomorrow, for instance, does it remember where it's been on that schedule? So if I did another one, say on Thursday, does it realise that it's got to do other parts of the lawn that it didn't get time to do the time before? I don't know these sort of things. I mean, it's just not covered in the manual, and it's a bit confusing to me. You know, you look at a vacuum cleaner, and Agatha is the name of ours, comes out, vacuums the house, and when it's complete it goes back. It's not time critical at all. Whereas with the lawnmower, it says in the manual it's supposed to go out, and if it runs out of battery it'll come back and recharge itself and go back out. I've not seen that happen yet, because I assume it's because I'm only using the, let me just go back here, the play button at the bottom. So if we use that play, I'm thinking that just means go out and mow the lawn. But all I've seen so far, as far as that goes, is it just does as much as it can before the battery is low, and then it goes back to the charging station and stays there. It doesn't come back out. So is it really covering every part of the lawn? I don't know these things. Just a bit of confusion. Yeah, the app, it's got functionality in it. Nothing spectacular though. You've got an activity log. Doesn't give you an enormous amount of information, just when it started, when it was mowing, when it went home. I think, that's when I lifted it up earlier on. See emergency events. Where else is there? Units of measurement. Okay. One of these tells us statistics. This is found to be nonsense. It hasn't been charged 27 times, and it's done a lot more than 5-6 hours of mowing since I've had it. It's been out there. I mean, it does 2-hour sessions, and I've done a good 3 or 4 sessions of it. So this is a bit wrong. If you're from WORX, you might want to have a look at that. Yeah, that's about it, I think. There's not an enormous amount in here in comparison to a vacuum cleaner, but I think the fact that we're having to rely on Wi-Fi is an explanation of that. Don't think it can get much better. Here we go. Okay, so Herman's now finished. If you've managed to stick with me all the way to the end of this, well done. You've probably heard me berate everything about it so far. He's back now, charging up. He's managed to park himself back up, and the job he's done. He didn't have a lot to do in the first place because it's at the wrong time of year. I'll obviously try and update this later on in the year as things go on. In conclusion, even though I've berated everything, I've actually still got quite a bit of confidence that it will do a good job in the end. It is, like, this was in a lot worse state than it is now, a few weeks ago when we started using Herman. But there are just little things that they could do to fix things, which can be done with a firmware update, and they can fix the app and improve the documentation. If that's all done, you've got a really good product that is worth that £1,000. Like, at the moment, I think he's done a pretty good job with the mowing of this, and I've sort of got confidence that it's only going to get better the more and more the grass grows quicker, and the temperature gets a bit warmer as well. So I know it's not a great conclusion to my review, but because of the time I've had to go through everything with you, I think, I'll say I'm going to give it 3 stars, and I will improve upon that as the year goes on. Hopefully I've helped you. There you go.
direkt in Tischchen.
Mhm.
Oh.